What is up, Cobra Kai fans? Welcome back to the channel for another Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 news-related video, where I really want to talk about a tease that was given for Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 from the Lone Lobos podcast, hosted by Xolo Metaduena and Jacob Bertrand. During the recent podcast, Xolo and Jacob were joined by Brandon H. Lee, who of course played Kwon, and they were talking about the famous final scene from episode 610, where Kwon gets stabbed with the Unjang-Do, and they were talking about how when Daniel sees that Kwon grabbed the knife, a lot of people thought that Daniel could have been at risk of getting stabbed as well, when in fact he was trying to stop it all. And Jacob actually touched upon a little bit of a spoiler, but I consider it more of a tease. But he said that in the later episodes that Daniel is going to be kicking himself a lot that he didn't get there in time to stop Kwon from getting stabbed.
Dude, well, no, it's so funny. Every time I watch it, I've gotten to watch this second part twice now with different people. Every time we get to that part, they think Daniel's gonna get stabbed. They think like Daniel's gonna go in and stop the interaction, and like he's trying to get through these folk. Like he clocks Kwon, so he's okay, I need to get over there. So when I was watching with Brandon or the other Brandon or with these other folk, they're like, oh shit, Daniel's about to get caught in the crossfire. Or they were like, oh, he's gonna save the day again. Like, oh, okay, but then,
yo, was that in the script that like Daniel LaRusso was like sees it?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember. That's why it was like really interesting to watch it, because then I was like,
I think it is in there because he's the one who flips you over, and in not to spoil, but in later episodes, like he feels like, fuck, like I didn't get there.
Yeah,
you know, in time.
And this was actually something that I've talked about in my previous videos, especially in my video for why I think Kwon will return in the form of flashbacks. And this is something that's kind of expected from Daniel's character. He's someone that always seems to punish himself for things that are far beyond his control, when the fact of the matter is that Kwon knowingly picked up the knife intending to use it on somebody else, and Kreese was the one who brought the Unjang-Do into the fold, into the Sekai Taikai, and Daniel was just in one of the wrong places at the wrong times, and he did see it, and the fact of the matter is that he did everything within his power to try and stop it, but unfortunately for Kwon, just couldn't be done. And as I've also talked about numerous times in previous videos, I think this is going to be the main reason why Daniel and a lot of the Miyagi-Do students and senseis are going to be rather apprehensive on the Sekai Taikai continuing at first. We do know that from prior footage, we do know in fact that the Sekai Taikai is going to be continuing along in part 3, but it's definitely not going to be one of those types of things where they jump right back in episode 11. It's probably going to take an episode or two for things to marinate, for the characters to grieve, until they finally come to the consensus that they want the Sekai Taikai to continue. Because at first, they're gonna feel like there's nothing left to prove. They don't need to win this. They don't need it to continue. They want to try and just move on from all of this without the conclusion of this tournament. But something I believe is gonna happen that's gonna give them no choice but to continue. And I think Terry Silver is gonna have a big hand to play in all of that, because he still wants his revenge. Yeah, Kwon dying wasn't necessarily in his plan, but he's not gonna let that distract him from his true intentions and what he set out to accomplish from the get-go. But guys, that's going to do it for this quick little update video on the recent tease for part 3, and that Daniel LaRusso is really going to be kicking himself and blaming himself for what happened to Kwon, even though it really wasn't his fault in the end of it. But guys, let me know down below in the comments section your thoughts on all of this. Do you think that Daniel should be blaming himself this much, or do you think he should give himself some grace for once? Definitely let me know it all. Leave a like on the video if you got something out of today. If you didn't, change it to a dislike. Any feedback greatly helps out the channel with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with everything as we lead up to the release of the final part of Cobra Kai coming on February 13th. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. No mercy.